Just press the go live button. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our book club. Did you let people from Pop Psych know to come?
This is going to Pop Psych and to Shrink Wrapped and to the Pop Psych Facebook channel.
Amazing. All right.
David. Well, I never have trouble with this streaming. No problem. Always works out perfectly for me.
I think you're so good at it. You're my hero at it. I'm excited to talk about this book. I felt like I got some good pearls in this one, and I love a pearl. I know how you. What do you think about this?
I like. Well, this book is. I think it is tailor made for you. But I think we should wait like a couple minutes to. I think we should talk amongst ourselves while people join. Well, how are you?
Good. You've been like running today.
And do I look like I'm a little bit red? You know, actually running or busy?
Both.
Yeah. I took the kids to jiu-jitsu, and then I just went and ran.
How fast did you go?
I don't know, 8:20. But it was very cold and very dark. I forgot to bring a headlamp, so it was a scare. I ran scared the whole time. Oh my gosh,
David, did you get your? You should get that ring that I want really bad.
Like the self-defense ring?
Can I tell you? I told my really good friend today 2 things, and she dismissed both of those things that I said to her, and so I'm letting her.
Okay.
But noted.
Okay. What did you tell her?
Well, she's going on a yoga trip to South America, which I'm really excited for her and jealous. It's 7 days. It's a 7-day yoga retreat, and she's going. And I was like, Jen, I travel a lot.
But you just said her name.
Oh, well, I don't think she watches. I said, Jen, I think you should consider this ring. I'm thinking about getting it. It looks like a rose, but actually it's a dagger.
Yeah.
And she like laughed at me and dismissed me. So I'm letting her.
You were a little bit offended that she.
I wasn't offended at all. I just was surprised because it feels like she was like, I think I'm not gonna. She's staying at a resort, and she's like, I think I'm gonna just like walk along the beach and see if I can find some place to get a massage. And I was like thinking,
well, she's more free range than you.
She's very free range, but also like as a woman, I think it wouldn't kill anyone to get one of those things. I really want one.
Allison saw a rose ring on Instagram and has been talking about it.
You know it wasn't on Instagram. I actually went down a rabbit hole on spy jewelry.
Oh, spy jewelry.
Because I think I was watching The Lioness and I was wondering if they actually existed. And then I saw that ring and I was like, oh, that would be a smart ring.
Wait, do they actually exist?
Spy jewelry?
No, The Lioness.
What?
You just said I went down a rabbit hole because I was wondering if the Lioness program actually exists.
No. The spy jewelry that they had like spy cameras and beacons. I was wondering if they actually existed.
Wait, but is there actually a Lioness program?
I'm sure they have one, but it's called something else. So as people are joining, why don't we just talk about? We are discussing Mel Robbins' new book, and it's a #1 bestseller. It's called The Let Them Theory. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mel Robbins, but
I don't know how I messed up this. I misspelled her name here. Let's delete that one. Go ahead.
She is an author, a podcaster. I've read several of her other books. I like some that I think about are the 5-second rule, which has helped me get out of bed sometimes when I don't want to exercise or do something.
Okay.
So I think she's an incredible speaker, and she's like a motivational speaker. She speaks for companies and she's just an amazing woman. And I do follow her on Instagram. I don't know if you guys do, but she always has some good tidbits, good quotes, which I save often.
So this is like your sweet spot of type of book.
I know.
Lots of tips.
Lots of good pearls.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was very good for that kind of book. You and I listened to the first chapter together, and I was annoyed, and then by the time I got through it, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You typically like Mel Robbins, though, right?
I think that I have a hard time with the I've got it figured out guru. There's a lot of gurus that have got it all figured out. I think that Mel Robbins is the most relatable and most honest of those gurus.
Yeah.
Like, she will say, I have struggled with this. Here's what I do now. I feel like she's more vulnerable, more realistic than the typical guru.
Okay.
And I thought I would say, so the answer is I like her. I want her social media, like the way she approaches social media. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I know she's got a team, but she's a freaking machine.
Yeah.
I don't know how she's generating that amount of content. It's very impressive. And I think it's good content.
It's all really good content. Mm-hmm. Her daughter works for her, which we found out in the book.
I heard that her daughter wanted to get emancipated or whatever. She wanted to get rid of Mel after that experience.
Of working together?
Yeah, because Mel was such a pain on the book.
But she let her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mel said, but her daughter bothers Mel too. I thought it was good. Like, I thought that was a good example. So she's talking about the let them theory and about how not everybody's going to like you. And she goes, my family drives me crazy. Here's why my daughter bothers me. Here's why my sons bothers me. But I love them. And I'm not gonna, right? I thought that kind of stuff was a good. She has a good ability to be relatively real.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought the book was good. Like you, I felt like I heard the term "let them" too much at the beginning of the book, and so it was driving me crazy.
Yes.
But there was like some specific chapters, especially the one on adult friendships, that really resonated with me. I loved that chapter. So,
can we start? I don't want to take over, but I think you should talk about what the let them theory is.
I'm going to let you describe it as a psychologist.
I thought I would have okay. What did you think? This is your thing. In your
I know,
book.
But I'd love to hear you describe it, because I feel like you're really good, and I don't know if it's because of being a therapist, but you're really good at letting them, and I feel like that has been your motto, and probably with your patients. I feel like you've said that to me. Be like, so what? It's always like, who cares?
The let them theory is not, and to Mel's credit, she does not act like it's a novel idea.
Yeah.
There is nothing new under the sun. I think that the way that she packaged it is excellent. Like that, her ability to take a very simple idea and create a book that doesn't feel like it's full of fluff, I think is very impressive. Okay, so you want me to try to explain it? Or?
Yeah.
So I think the way that I would describe the let them theory is this idea that in life, it is very easy to get sort of bent around the axle, trying to control the experiences, the behaviors, and the outlook or the thinking of other people. And I think that Mel would argue that we sort of go through life sort of white knuckling it as we try to control everybody around us and the experiences of everybody around us. And the let them theory is essentially, she's asking the question, what if you just chilled out and let this thing happen and decoupled your identity from what other people think or how other people behave or however, you know what I mean? Decoupled yourself from other people's reality and just focus on what was best for you.
And how you react to it. So I feel like you let them be them, and then what you can control is your reaction to the situation, and then you let me, which I like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how do you think it changes conventional thinking?
How do I think it changes conventional thinking?
Mm-hmm.
I think it is conventional thinking. I think it's, well, I'm not sure I understand the question. What do you mean? What were you getting at?
I feel like it's not conventional thinking because we all feel like we have to react to other people's emotions. We have to react to, like, for people pleasers. We can't just let them. And the one, like, part of the book where that was really super interesting to me is, like, when you're in a relationship and, like, she talks about her friend that is in a relationship with a husband that is unhealthy, and how distressed she is about how distressed the woman is about her husband and how it's ruining their relationship. And I feel like I feel like that's conventional thinking, is not allowing people is to nag. And that's how it challenges it, I guess. I related to that, by the way, with my family.
I thought it was very relatable. I think, okay, how do I want to say this? I think the idea, and it's like all of these mental health practice, myself included, we're just regurgitating the same idea over and over again. And it's just who can package it in a way that is digestible for other people.
Yes.
And I think to me, what she is repackaging, and she acknowledges this, is essentially Stoicism. This idea that you should that you should not allow your emotions to dominate your thinking. You should not be letting yourself sort of operate at the whim of other people and their needs and their expectations, that you could sort of decouple yourself and just be sort of logical about, does this matter to me or does it not? And the things that I want to do, I'm going to go participate in those things. Like that's like the key here is, it's not just don't give a shit about anything and keep yourself out of the fray. It is care about things and do it, sort of keep your side of the street clean. If you're worried about relationships, stop judging and evaluating and stressing about what Joe Blow thinks, but do make sure that you're checking in with Joe Blow. If you're worried about your friend or the way your parents view your romantic partner, any of these kinds of things, make sure that your side of the street is clean and keep in perspective, the extent to which you need to care about the other people's views. So I don't think it's to me, it is not a novel idea. I think her packaging it in the let them theory and this whole let them. I mean, you have said let them. I wish you would let me a little bit more, but
I've been letting you.
What have you let me? No, you're not letting me. But I can hear her like on her work calls, and she ends up the call and I'm just gonna let them. Right?
I have a colleague who's been frustrated at work, and he called me, and I was like, just let them. It's fine. Now he says it. I feel like, what's so funny that you say this is like Stoicism, is because Stoicism is a hot topic right now. When I was in Vancouver with my friend, she was like, she's just like in love with all these podcasts about Stoicism, and I feel like I need to do a deep dive into that.
There's a guy, Ryan Holiday, that has a podcast, and he's great on social media, and he has lots of books. Wrote a book that I really liked called Obstacle is the Way. Really good. But wait, did I name the podcast? Did I say Daily Stoic? That's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, the way that I think somebody asked a question here. This is like the great, this is essentially the issue, I would tell you, is, oh no, wrong one. Sorry. This one. Like, how do you operationalize this? So I can tell you, and Mel can tell you, and every therapist or friend, whatever, can tell you, you shouldn't worry about that thing. Just let them. And that's the struggle with a book like this, is the whole book is about, hey, you should just integrate this idea, just let them. And when I started reading the first couple of chapters, I was like, but Mel, you can't just say, she's like, since I found out about the let them theory, my relationships have gotten better and I've been less enmeshed and it's like, yeah, you can't just learn about the theory and then all of a sudden not care. If you're not a Stoic person, if you aren't naturally good at separating yourself, if you are naturally more sensitive, that's an ingrained personality characteristic that's very difficult to change. And I think the truth is, to overcome that, in my world, I think that means that you need to go to therapy, that you need to spend a lot of time processing with somebody what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, what's the implication of you feeling it, work through the experience so it's no longer something that's leading to that kind of emotional response. Like, it's a process. You're not going to read a book and go like, no big deal, just let them. But to Mel's defense, I thought she does a really good job she sort of says like, here's the idea. And let's talk about what that looks like in relationships. Let's talk about what that looks like as far as your career. Let's talk about in all these different buckets. And I think she provides enough explanation and enough examples. And I thought she was very convincing. I thought she was convincing enough that it would make someone listen to it think, oh, I should really second guess myself when I'm having an emotional reaction to something. Like, that's really what this book is about. Sorry, I'll let you talk a second. But
no, I'm interested in what you're saying.
People having a strong emotional reaction, and we sort of get unhinged and derailed by the emotional reaction to something. And I think the let them theory, this idea, will help her audience like pause and go, whoa, I'm having a really strong reaction. Is it a warranted reaction? Should I be this wrapped around the axle? And the answer is no. And there are lots of, I would argue, cognitive behavioral strategies that can help you. And I thought that Mel did a pretty good job of helping people understand that. That was a meandering explanation, but that's what I thought. I thought it was good.
I thought it was really good.
Look at this person. Sensitive AF here, and let them is a practice for sure. Yeah.
I feel like I feel like you're a stoic and I'm sensitive. Do you agree?
I don't think I like love the idea of being a stoic.
You're not.
I mean, I'm just not that. I think I'm not that like thoughtful. But like the idea of being able to, getting up every morning and writing in my journal and parsing out what's my emotional response, versus what's the intellectual response, and then deciding how I want to act sounds wonderful. I think I am just not that emotionally aware. And then so I'm not that sensitive, but it's not because I have some overarching stoic philosophy.
That's the first time I've ever heard you say that, because you always tell me you're like the most emotionally aware ever. And that people pay you for your opinion.
Only when I'm arguing with you and you're not agreeing with me.
Am I emotionally aware? Because you say I'm not. I just am full of emotions.
In my opinion, there's room for increased awareness. I think you have a lot. I think that you have a deeper well of emotion than I do.
Oh, yes.
Do you think that's true?
Mm-hmm. But I wonder if it's okay. So I have so many questions right now.
Okay.
Which was your favorite chapter?
I don't know what the chapter was called, but there's a chapter.
Right here are all of them.
Can I just describe it? There's a chapter in there where she's talking about her example. It's about caring what people think. And she's talking about learning to be a motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a really, again, like she's going, you shouldn't care what people think. And I'm going like, yeah, no kidding. But like walk me through it. And she just gives so many examples of her journey becoming a motivational speaker, which is a little bit like sort of standard. This is like my issue with motivational speakers. She's talking about how she was like very in debt.
Uh-huh.
She didn't have a job. She had to do a second lien on her house. I think her husband's restaurant business wasn't going well. And she's like, I'm going to be a motivational speaker and go tell people, like go motivate people. And as I'd be like, well, maybe it's not the right time to do that, which was her point. Is she was very worried about like, how would people see her doing this? And this was 10 years like in the making to where from that point to where she's at now. But I can totally relate to, she talks about how there are processes in everything and you should just follow the process for success. And she goes, I'm going to probably butcher this, but she's like, there's 3 things you need to do to be a successful motivational speaker. And I'm thinking like, I'm on my run being like, oh, well, this is what I need to do for my YouTube channel. What are the 3 things? And the first is you need to get a website, get a website up and that says what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You need to ask people that have been exposed to you to give you references.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I could do that. And then she goes, and you need to have a strong social media presence. And she talks about how she it took her 2 years from getting that feedback to being able to actually like participate in social media, because she was so concerned about how her friends would see her on social media.
Yes.
And I have really struggled with that. Like I'm always like, I'm going to start doing Instagram earnestly. And I can't, because all I think about is that my high school girlfriend is going to be like, what a nerd David turned into. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not my high school girlfriend, but you get the idea. Like people,
I know who that is.
that I'm worried that people will think that, not that cool. And I think, so I can relate to, here I am 42 and making social media decisions based on what people I went to high school, who I think all, I don't like I have bad relationships there, but
Yeah. It's interesting that you thought that about yourself. I had no idea, because I feel like every time, like since the beginning of your YouTube journey, I felt like you were all in and you didn't care. And I was the one that was reluctant and worried about what other people thought.
yes.
And now I couldn't be, and I wasn't worried about what people thought of you, but like my cameos on it, I hated what you would like take pictures. You'd like come in the bedroom and take photos, and I'm like, David, stop it.
Yeah.
I don't want, and I was always worried about it. And I feel like I just had no idea that you felt that way, because I thought I've admired you not worrying about what other people think and putting it on we have our person that posts for us, right? So and she misspells stuff.
Yes. So I guess what I'm saying is I can relate to the anxiety, but I just sort of force myself to do it. You know what I mean? And Mel's point is that people are going to judge you. Why do you care? If someone that I went to high school with thinks that I've turned into a nerd, right? Or people don't like my Pop Psych channel. People want to know why I'm so focused on sister wives. Who cares? And like I know intellectually that I'm on their truly on their give a shit scale. I am a 1. So like they may think that they're not impressed, but it doesn't have an impact.
Yeah, and like one of her studies that she quoted was that adults have 70 thoughts a day, and a lot of them are negative. And you even have negative thoughts about, you can't help it. You have negative thoughts about the people you care about. Like sometimes I have negative thoughts about them, very rarely.
First of all, I thought it was hilarious that she was like, yeah, you have negative thoughts about people. For example, my husband gets up in the morning and lets out an awful fart every morning. And I was, that he was like, because I'm sure it's not every morning. I'm sure every once, like she's exaggerating for the point, but she's like, hey, sweetheart, will you read my manuscript? He's probably like, what the hell?
She does. She gets very personal about Sawyer too in there, and I don't know. I thought that was revealing, like. But let them.
What was your favorite chapter?
I had 2 favorite chapters. One was when grown-ups have tantrums, and I could definitely relate to that one. It's about like I'll read you the thing, but the reality is adults are as emotional as children, and it's not your responsibility to manage someone else's emotions. As long as you let other people's emotional immaturity dictate your choices, you'll always come last in your own life. And I feel like in family situations and in work situations, like I let other people's emotions derail me. And I thought it was really interesting. And so like if you say, for example, if you have a boss that throws a tantrum, she gives you some hope. She's like, just imagine them as an 8-year-old child that wasn't getting their needs met. And so you should feel bad for them, and it's so true. And in my family, I think about, I have family members that will literally throw major tantrums, and I can derail a vacation from it. I can derail a holiday trying to handle that. And I just need to feel bad for that person and just, know that her needs weren't met
Mhm.
as a child. So
Mhm.
I just thought it was interesting.
So like to me, like that sort of thing is a really good like it's really like a cognitive therapy, which is kind of all you can do. It's hard to do the emotional therapy via book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does this come with is there a manual tied to this?
You can download stuff online.
If I were her or the publisher, I would have a separate like journal or something that you can do alongside of it. But that's like a good mental activity. It's like to recognize that people are not
Yeah.
that we're all you do grow up and you think, man, all the adults have it together, but adults are a wreck.
No, did you see this part?
Yes.
Child behavior versus adult behavior. When children run away from you equals adults avoid confrontation. Children sulk or pout in the corner. Adults give the silent treatment. Children shut down. Adults act stoic. Children throw tantrums. Adults erupt, rage, text, vent. Children slam doors. Adults slam doors too. Children lie and adults lie too. The one thing that in this chapter for sure that I thought was so interesting was about is it okay if I read it to you?
Yeah.
Research shows that most emotions will rise up and then fall away within 90 seconds if you don't react to them. So you cannot control your emotions from rising up. Trying to is a waste of time. The better strategy is learning to just let them rise up and fall without reacting. There's also nothing you can do that will ever allow you to control emotional reactions of another human being. So no matter how hard you try. So for yourself, because I like there's some 8-year-old behaviors that I have sometimes. And if I just sometimes I rage text you. But now
you know how there's this conflict between Justin Baldacci or whatever his name is and Blake Lively?
Are they being 8-year-olds?
No, but I was just thinking like, so he's like trying to defend himself. And so he's showing the world all the text messages and the voice notes. And I think if we ever got in a big public fight, that's what I would do is I would just save your nasty text messages. Ammo. I think I'm going to start doing that.
You need to save it in a file called Weapons of Mass Destruction.
Seriously.
David. I'm going to let you say those things.
Okay, can I complain about this 90-second thing? Because it drives me crazy. And I think she stole it from Tony Robbins. And it drives me crazy when he does it too.
Really? She says there's research.
Okay, where's the research? What research?
There's no footnote.
I just don't like the idea of I don't like I have so many I don't like the idea of people being like, I am going to harness and control my emotional experience. Like Tony Robbins' thing is, we do not let any negative emotions enter our house. And when something bad happens, we give ourselves whatever it is, 90 seconds to be really upset. And then when we're done being upset, we just move on. And I think that sounds really cool. And I'm sure that it's true that it's not true. Give me a break. Just ask yourself, how are they measuring that? How are they controlling for the experience of somebody to be able to measure how long it takes for their emotions to escalate and they come in and say, your wife is divorcing you.
I think they put electrodes
and they just go, how are you? But like, did you see what I mean? Like you're talking about what's happening in your brain versus what someone's feeling versus the depth of the injury. There's no good. I'll calm down in a second. I'm having an emotional reaction
David,
right now.
let them.
Yeah, let them just say like emotions, they'll abate in 90 seconds. Come here. I understand what she's saying.
It's a burst of chemicals in your brain.
Let them. Don't. What she's saying is good. Don't be don't be fearful of your emotions. If you're having anxiety, if you're having anger, allow yourself to experience, like embrace the emotion and it will move on and you can deal with it in a different way. But the idea that you can just do this like on off and we're somehow the research is showing that you're measuring that. I just want to see the article. I just highly suspect.
Well, I'm sure, I don't know.
You know what?
I'm hoping she did her due diligence.
It's been about 90 seconds and I now feel great.
No, Dave, you are just like misreading this. Emotions are just a burst of chemicals in your brain. So it like bursts and then they're absorbed within your body within seconds. So it's just like the chemicals in your brain, like serotonin or whatever, burst.
Okay.
Boom. Then absorbed.
The next time you and I are in a fight, I'm going to ask you just to take a beat for 90 seconds and we'll see what your emotional experience is after that. If you don't react, I'll just say, hey. I just think it's like, come on.
Do you think emotions are contagious?
I think, can I just do one more thing on this emotion thing?
Okay.
I'm sure what they're doing is they are like tracking synapses in the brain. And once your brain has some kind of, chemical surge, there's a refractory period and maybe that happens, but you have more than one surge. Like I'm just telling you that it's not 90 seconds and then, you're just swimming after that.
Okay.
I'm
letting you.
Oh, you let me, and I'm gonna let them.
Okay, so also they talk about emotions being contagious, and I feel like they are. Like I can feel other people's stress, and then I get stressed.
Why? I agree with you, but why?
I don't know. Like all of a sudden, or I can feel like when I went to lunch with family members and they were mad at each other, I knew immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can just feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got mad at both of them. Then I was mad.
That's what you do is you then get mad and then yell at everybody for you need to let them.
I need to let them. That's
but
true.
It's because I was hoping that you would say is, at least the way I think about it is, the reason why it causes, well, I guess I'm asking the question, why do you think it causes you? I get that you are empathetic enough to track when other people are distressed, but why does that cause distress in you?
I don't know. Because I'm not letting them. I'm trying to control the situation. And I should just let them.
I think it's because you have I don't know. I think you have sympathy for them. I think that you feel you're identifying with them, and them being distressed, you're enmeshing your emotional experience with their emotional experience. Right? But if you took it more, if you think you could call it the let them theory or a more stoic, you need to decouple yourself from their experience.
Yes, and you need to.
Let them. I mean, it's a good. She's a smart woman.
Okay, the other chapter that I really thought was good. Well, there was 2 chapters, but the ones on adult relationships and how there's this great scattering of. I don't know how to navigate my book on my iPad. So,
what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to get to the.
If you
to the beginning?
If you give me just 1 second, maybe I can help you.
Oh, maybe right there.
Did you do bookmarks? Or chapters?
Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you.
I should have just let you struggle. I think that Lori, so I agree with you that it's I don't think I could have written the book, but I think that it is common sense. I do think that she packages it in a way, especially for a sensitive or a more trying to think of a nicer way than neurotic, like from a personality standpoint, what she is talking about, I think, is 2 people who get themselves wrapped around the axle because they're trying to control everything. I think she packages it in a way that's very digestible. And
you know what, I love self-help books, but I don't ever feel like they're novel. I just feel like they're reminders.
Yeah.
And when you do it with anecdotes, I feel like, oh, yeah. And then you imagine the scenarios. So I do feel like Rachel Hollis's books to me are not novel, but the way they package them, or definitely Mel Robbins, this book, even Outlive by Peter Attia. It was diet and exercise.
I know.
Why don't you eat right? And we were like, whoa,
this has changed my life. And people are like, you mean you got to eat healthy? Yeah. Someone just said, Karen said, and we always forget, please, if you would like the video. I always think that we don't need to like live streams, but I think it still matters. So if you would if you like this conversation, please like the video
Oh, yeah.
or like this stream.
Can I ask a question? So
Yes.
this is on shrink wrapped, right?
It's on shrink wrapped and pop psych.
If you want more videos like this, we're going to be doing it on shrink wrapped.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I should have started off by saying that. So we have a channel. There's pop psych channel, which we've been doing, and then we started the shrink wrap channel, where it's just like a podcast with me and Allison. And Allison is going to take that over and own the what do you call it? The curriculum. That you're going to be the program manager of that, and so it's going to be more of books like this or things that Allison's interested in. So if you're interested in this, you like this stuff, subscribe to shrink wrap, because we're not always going to do it on pop psych.
Yeah. But anyway.
The logo's in the corner here.
More time to read books. We will give you more time.
Yeah. And can you give your husband more time to read the book too?
Well, I just knew that this was a hot book right now. And I feel like, everyone needs more time.
Jeez. Yeah. We can't, you have me on a clip of a book a week, which is too much.
Well, remember our 25 for 25, and your cousin was like, I'm going to read 200 books this year. And we were like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is actually a really good comment here, that self-help books are great for people who have zero examples of healthy people in their life. And that is true. So I think there are people in my life that don't really are pushed back on gurus. And the argument is like, well, why don't you have, why do you need someone to tell you to let it go or to let them, or why do you need? And I think the answer is often that if you grow up in an environment, or you find yourself in an environment where you don't have a lot of positive mentors or healthy people, it's like such a wonderful thing that you can go online, or you can read a book, and you can hand pick people who you want to learn from. So I think it's super powerful, especially for people that are disenfranchised or just don't have access.
I just feel like for anyone, I feel like I have healthy people in my life, but everyone struggles a little bit, and you can take some pearls from anybody. Just like your colleague that learns from everybody, Oh, I feel like, and she's like a wonderful person. And I feel like sometimes you just need a little kick in the pants.
Yes. Yeah. Her name is Dana. If you are on Instagram, you should follow Dana Borchert. I'll tell you what her thing is. I'll tell you, but I have a colleague named Dana who I think is a wonderful psychologist, and she's like one of the smartest people, and we'll have people come in to do trainings with us on topics that I know that Dana knows way more than the speaker about. And Dana will always leave it and be like, that was really helpful. I picked up that little nugget there, and I am sitting there going like, who do you think you are talking to me about emotional intelligence? I know more. I'm such an a-hole about learning from other people, and Dana is really good. I'm going to give her a shout out here.
Do you think my siblings would think this about me?
What?
I definitely read the most self-help books.
Why can't I find her? What?
Do it later. Put it in later.
I'll put it in later. My sister reads so many self-help books. Oh, that's it. What do you think about that, Allison?
Well, I was wondering, I don't think my siblings would think that about me. Do you?
No.
Okay.
Wait, talk about it, Al. What do you think?
No, I don't. I don't know. It might be she's trying to.
No, talk about you.
Oh, me? I don't think I'm the hardest to get along with, but I do definitely. I feel like my siblings are intellectuals, and they would not find this topic interesting.
I'm not sure where I disagree with you on so many places there. I'm not sure where to start.
We'll start. What are you wanting me to say about it? I don't know what to say.
I think that I guess I have a couple thoughts. The first is I think that you can create friction in your family because you're not always just someone who goes along with things. And I think that somebody might look at you and go, Allison's harder to get along with, because I think you do. You don't always let them.
But I'm going to let them.
Okay,
Moving on. Yeah, I'm going to let them, Karen.
Yes. And then I'm going to see Allison at Christmas just with like a nosebleed. I'm letting him. It's fine. I'm just going to wait my 90 seconds before this emotion goes away. I also think that, like, to me, the idea of someone reading a lot of self-help books and still being difficult to get along with, it could be that they're looking for something. They're looking for information or support. I don't know that necessarily being
There's
difficult to get
correlation.
along with is a bad thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to go back? Can you stop looking at your phone?
I just want to find it so I could
I'll find
shout out. Well, how can I have to?
Well, it's like Dana Borchard, PhD. Well, we're trying to do the book club,
okay,
and you're distracted, and I feel like I need my teammate.
I'm here.
Last week, you didn't even read the book.
Okay, but look at how I've improved.
Okay, so my next favorite chapter was on adult friendships. And I thought this was really good. The truth about adult friendships that no one told you. And about how, like, when you grow up as a kid, like, you're constantly surrounded by people going through the same, they're in, like, the same stage of life as you. Because you go to school together, you do activities together. You're just, like, always together. And I guess, like, to have, I think she calls them weak ties, which are good. You need about 70 hours with people, and to have really deep, meaningful relationships, you need like around 200. And like as a kid, you get that all the time because of all the things. But what no one tells you is that, like, when you're 20 and you're done with college, that you like move different places, and then all of a sudden your life goes on different timelines. And so you have less in common with your old friend. She calls it the great scattering. And you, like, it's a really lonely time because you don't understand, like, where your friends went. And I think that's good because, like, that's true. Like, different timelines for marriage and graduate school and kids. I thought it was eating. So she talks about the 3 pillars of friendship. And I thought this was good. So, like, the first pillar of friendship is proximity. Like, are you going to bump into them all the time? And, like, being near them so that it's not hard to, like, which I think is really important, Dave, because I feel like we need to bump into people in our neighborhood. How should we plan on doing that?
I'd be available. I don't know. Go outside, go for a walk. You were supposed to do, I thought you were like hell bent on doing a food truck in front of our house. We moved to a new neighborhood and we don't know the neighbors that well. And Allison and I are both kind of shy, so we don't go.
But you know what? But you know what? I was worried about what other people would think of me for doing that. But I'm gonna let them know. I think people would come have a taco.
I'm certain that everybody would love it.
Yeah. And then we get to know people and bump into them, take cake to them. I know, right? I love cake. The second pillar in friendship is timing. So we spend like the majority of time with our coworkers, and we're all in different stages of life, really. Like I think I'm the youngest of all my coworkers.
Yeah.
I have several coworkers that don't have kids. And then the rest are empty nesters. And then there's me, and I'm in it, and so we just don't. And also, no matter how hard I try, I don't know much about football. I have a lot of older males, and so I feel like I can't connect about football because I just haven't taken a deep interest in it. So they talk about, like, she has a quote. She says, timing refers to the chapter of life you are in right now. If you're not in the same chapter of life with someone else, it's much harder to relate because you have less in common. From the ages 21 to 60, you will spend more time with your coworkers than friends and family combined. But there's a catch. Everyone at work is in a different chapter of their life. That means for over 4 decades of your life, the majority of the people at work who you spend the most physical time with are not in the same period of life that you are. So that's one of the reasons it's harder to find friends at work. And the third pillar is energy. And you either click with people or you don't, and you can't explain it, but you have to trust it. So I think that's really interesting too. So all those 3 pillars. What are you doing?
I was just looking to see. I guess so what's in your mind, what's the takeaway? What do you do about it?
Well, just know that like it's like sometimes like your friendships as that you had when you were maybe in college are gonna fade because you might it might not be anything, but sometimes you have less in common because you're on a different path, different timing, proximity isn't there, and you can't get upset because it's just timing. It's not them. It's just circumstances, and you have to let that go. You can't hold on to something.
You can't over personalize the fact that you don't have the relationships that you want.
Right. And it's normal. Which leads me to the next chapter, which is like sorry.
What's going on? What are you doing?
I was looking for the next chapter, but it was like it's about
just talk to me. What are you saying?
Well, no, just like how to make adult friends and like how to make deep relationships when you're in this situation. And I felt like immediately after I read the chapter, I did what she proposed, and I felt like I had a better experience.
What was it?
Like she said that like even the people like you see in a coffee shop, she talks about her own personal experience. She moved to a new town at 56, didn't know anyone her age, was depressed, and she had always told her daughter, or both of her daughters wanted to quit college because they were so lonely, and she was like, give it a year, go put yourself out there, and she wasn't doing any of that. And I was thinking that I don't do that. Like I see people every day at my gym class, and I don't talk to any of them. So the next day after I read this chapter, I was open to starting a conversation and being warmer, and it did positively impact me for the day.
Well, did you get a friend?
No, but she says that you have to be like just warm and open and don't expect anything to come from it. And there's going to be a lot of weird, awkward hellos, but like something might come from it. But even those non-deep ties, even those non-deep ties are like good, and they can impact your day positively. So anyway, I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I think that the like what she's doing, and I think this is like a good example of it, but what she's doing is she's making you decouple who you are with things in your life that you don't like. Right? Like she's saying, look, here's the reasons why friendships may fade over time as you get older, and none of them have to do with you being a bad person.
Yeah.
Right? They have to do with circumstance. Like I just think that that's her goal, is to help you intellectually separate yourself from the things that you don't like.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that this is like a good example of, I think it's a good example of her using logic to like make this make sense to people. But what I would say is, I would say, I think she's also right that if you want, you have to figure out how to best put yourself in the position to have new friendships. And I would argue that the number one thing that you have to do is be vulnerable. And that's the problem, is when we think about, I would argue that the problem is when you think about relationships, they're 100% dependent on vulnerability. That is the glue to any relationship. And vulnerability can look like you and I grew up together, and we had the same first grade teacher, and we grew up in the same town, and you know who I am. That makes us vulnerable. That makes me vulnerable. If you know all of that, if you know my upbringing, I am inherently more vulnerable, and we are more connected. You can you don't have that background with everybody. So obviously it's easier to maintain relationships with, or to stay in relationships with people you grew up with. But if you're meeting somebody new, I think that the answer is you have to be willing to not just be chipper and nice. Like that's a good starting point. But the more you can share about who you really are, what you're in that, who you really are, I think that's the key. And I think a lot of times parents in particular substitute the expression of dissatisfaction. They substitute vulnerability with the expression of dissatisfaction at being a parent. Like, I think it's easy for two dads at the soccer field to go, this sucks that we're here on a Sunday and we're not watching football. And I think that the dads think like, oh, we're going to connect over the fact that we don't like this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think what dads, and I think moms also struggle with doing, is being vulnerable about like what they like, what their insecurities are, the mistakes they've made as a parent, the things at work that aren't going well. Like, that's where I think we struggle to share transparently. And if we would do that, then we would build stronger relationships.
Yeah. She didn't mention that in the book, but it probably encompasses in the 200 hours. Like, because
Yes,
then you really get to know people. Can you itch right there? If it itch?
But that, I think, would fast track. If you're at bar class or whatever, you could be chipper. But if you ask someone for help on how to do something, or if you see someone that I don't know what the thing would be, but if you're willing to sort of say like, here, I'm not perfect and I'm a real person and I'm excited to be to talk to you, I think people would be interested in that.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. We had to, in Pilates, we had to start with a hover crunch, which is like you have your hands on the reformer and your knees are up, like your toes are on the back and your knees are up. And it is so hard. And I looked at the woman next to me and I was like, are we seriously starting with a hover crunch? And she was like, I know.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was good. It was a good connection. We see each other every day and we've never talked. So
good. All right. I have to just show, this is, if you are on Instagram, follow Dana Borchert, PhD. She's my friend and colleague, and she's a better person and psychologist than I am. So I would follow her. All right. What were you going to say?
Anyway, I thought I really liked her chapter on that. Yeah. The other one that was inspiring. Did you have something to say?
No, I was just tracking the time. Go ahead.
Can we go back to the comments so I can see them?
Yeah.
What were some of your favorite chapters? If anyone read the book, or are you just listening in with us because we didn't give you enough time?
I think lots of people are maybe listening in because they're required to be voracious readers to keep up with you.
Okay, well, I the other chapter that I really liked, and you probably already knew this as a psychologist, but people only change when they feel like changing.
Yeah, I thought that she had this chapter, and then she had the chapter about influencing, and I thought in both cases I think that she's doing a really good job of having like a single principle that expands, right? Like, so here's how you should deal with family, or here's how you deal with a difficult person, or here's how you, right? And this is about change. Felt like what she's saying is, you are not the driver of everybody else's happiness and satisfaction. You are not the person. So don't put that pressure.
Well, and like, they actually don't listen to you. Like, their brains turn off when you try and motivate them.
Yes.
And I was thinking, like, my brain, when you try to motivate me, my brain definitely turns off. I know for you, it does too. When I try to get you to do something, like, you pretend like we never had a conversation about it. And I'll be like,
that's not, I think you conjure up conversations that didn't really happen. And you're like, why don't you remember that? But I was going to say something about that, and I can't remember what it was. But like, this is motivational interviewing. Like, if you think about it, like, if I want you to change something, I can scream at you until I'm blue in the face, and I can really like do whatever it's going to take, and I can just thrash you. Why won't you change? What's wrong with you? Right. But what I have to be able to do is separate myself and not be as invested in it as you have to want it more than I do. Right. And so what I can do is I can ask you questions that help you sort of move from, down the line from not even thinking about change to thinking about change to planning change and being able to act on that. But I have to ask you questions where I have to be in a place where I'm creating the space for you to think, but not in a position where I'm demanding it of you.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a story about my very first time I treated someone that was alcohol dependent?
Yeah, tell it.
Or are you gonna?
No, tell it. Then I have a question about the motivational interviewing.
I've started off, and when you're like early, I was in my master's program. It was one of my very first clients, older man, and had a alcohol dependence. And so we started meeting, and first meeting, I sit down and I go, so I can't even remember what his name was, but I was like, so, why are you here? And he said, well, I drink too much. And I said, well, do you want to stop? And he goes, I'd like to stop. And I go, well, are you ready to stop? What, you should stop. And he goes, okay, I'll stop. And then that was it. And I was like, man, I am a hard-nosed, really smart therapist. Look how fast I changed this guy. No big deal. And we did therapy once a week for like 3 months. And then he just stopped showing up. And I worked at a place where people had to be very in close proximity to the place I was working at, or we would go to their homes. Well, he stopped showing up, and I was driving out of there, and a guy flags me down and goes, hey, you're so-and-so's therapist, right? And I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, he's in the hospital, got in a car accident. He was on a bike and he was drunk and he ran into another car. And I go, what? And then I said to him, what are you talking about? And this guy tells me that the client had been drinking every day. He would get sober for the 3 hours before my meeting with him, and then go home and black out for like 3 months. And what I learned from that whole thing was eventually he got out of the hospital. He came back in. He sort of admitted what had gone on, and I was like all hurt by it. Like, how could you mislead me? And what happened is it was all about me. Like I think I was probably the same age as his grandkids. I think that he didn't want to disappoint me. He didn't want to deal with a negative appraisal from me. And so instead of telling me the truth about what he was going through, he was just lying. And I'm sitting here being like, tell me how great I am as a therapist, not really about him. Right. And when he got caught, I made it about me. Like, how could you, I don't know what happened with why it's doing that. I don't know why it's doing that. But I made it about me versus recognizing this is a man that was suffering. And it was a really good lesson that was like, even if someone says that they want to change, like it's a big sacrifice to make significant changes to who you are and how you operate in the world. And if you are a friend or a family member or a therapist and it's about you and you're going to grab them and change them, you are going to be very disappointed.
Yeah.
And distressed.
Yeah. I think we're out of time, but I did want to, I was just wondering, the why, keep asking the 5 whys questions. And I felt like I would never get the answer I wanted. So I don't want to do it.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, the 5 why questions.
Like when you're trying to motivate people, there's which I thought was, so why are you drinking? And why? And it's supposed to go deeper and deeper.
I missed that explanation of it. I mean, there's a more sophisticated way to do that, but I think in a book, that's a way to, what you're not doing is saying you should stop. That's going to kill you. You're not directing, you're letting them arrive at the conclusion on their own.
Mm-hmm. And
the big thing is, like, as the friend or the therapist, you are like not making it about you and what you want. You're helping this person explore. You're avoiding being enmeshed.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought this was a really great discussion. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. I really liked the book, and I will give you more time for the book next time.
Do you have the next book?
I do have a book I want to read, but I'm open to suggestions. So, the next book that I have in my library is Hold On to Your Kids by Gabor Mate, MD. But I also want to read Jinger Duggar's new book.
You got to pick. You got to be. This is not a democracy. What do you want? What book do you want people to read?
Oh gosh, let's read Hold On to Your Kids.
Hold On to Your. Who is this?
No. Let's read Jinger Duggar's book.
You just saw what Neen said, and
What did she say?
please read Ginger Volo. Is that it?
People Pleaser by Ginger.
Oh,
Is that her?
I don't know.
That must be it. Okay,
What?
yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, let me look it up real fast. Discover.
Hold on. We're just going to give us 1 second here. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes.
What?
It's called People Pleaser.
By who?
By Jinger Volo.
And who is that?
The Duggar. Jinger Duggar.
Ginger Duggar?
Oh, Ginger, not Jinger. I can't remember if they called her Ginger or Jinger.
Okay, I just need to know what the book is. Honey,
That
you're
one.
confusing me.
Ginger.
All right, so it's People Pleaser. Hold on, I'll put it here in the video. Oh.
No more self-help books for a while. Okay. Let's read Jinger Duggar's book.
Hold on, I'm just going to write it down here. So the book is People Pleaser. Oh, it's just because she spells her name weird.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, that's the next book. And when are we doing that by? Can we just have to go read it?
I would like to do it next week because
No,
I
honey,
have to go on a business trip next.
Sweetheart, I cannot read another book in 1 week. I have other things I have to do.
Then it has to be in 3 weeks.
All right, fine, we'll do it next week.
Okay, and then
Jeez.
we'll take a week off.
But I want everybody watching, this is the world I live in, right? You know what I'm doing? Just letting her. That's what I do.
All right. Well, thank you guys for this discussion.
So it's next Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time?
Yes. And I do want to remind everyone that Pop Psych has a membership. If you'd like to do it, you get member only live streams, your own emoticon, and
we do videos.
We do videos without commercials.
We do videos without commercial, but we also do we did. I think it's a good idea when we do the Sister Wives reactions. We record it, and you get to see the behind the scenes. I think people liked the behind the scenes. Did you just say that?
No.
Yeah. So you get extra videos. All right. Thank you all.
Good night.
Have a good night.